The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. He who conquers others is strong. He who conquers himself is mighty. Patience is not simply the ability to wait, but the mastery of tranquility. To know what you know and what you do not know, that is true knowledge. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. When anger rises, think of the consequences. The more you know, the less you need. A wise man adapts himself to circumstances as water shapes itself to the vessel that contains it. He who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes. He who does not ask a question remains a fool forever. Choose a job you love, and you will never have to work a day in your life. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The person who says it cannot be done should not interrupt the person who is doing it. The wise adapt themselves to circumstances as water molds itself to the pitcher. To see things in the seed, that is genius. He who deliberates fully before taking a step will spend his entire life on one leg. Ignorance is the night of the mind, but a night without moon and star. A diamond with a flaw is worth more than a pebble without imperfections. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Silence is a true friend who never betrays. Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. When we see men of a contrary character, we should turn inwards and examine ourselves. To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. Act with kindness, but do not expect gratitude. He who does not economize will have to agonize. To see what is right and not do it is want of courage. The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions. Your life is what your thoughts make it. The harder you work, the luckier you get. Attack the evil that is within yourself, rather than attacking the evil that is in others. To know and not to do is not to know. He who sacrifices his conscience to ambition burns, a picture to obtain the ashes. The palest ink is better than the best memory. A single conversation across the table with a wise man is worth a month's study of books. The gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials. When you have only 2 pennies left in the world, buy a loaf of bread with one hand, a lily with the other. To understand your parents' love, you must raise children yourself. Give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. If you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, help somebody. A wise man makes his own decisions, and ignorant man follows public opinion. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. Do not be desirous of having things done quickly. Do not look at small advantages. Desire to have things done quickly prevents their being done thoroughly. He who loves others is constantly loved by them. He who respects others is constantly respected by them. It is not the failure of others to appreciate your abilities that should trouble you, but rather your failure to appreciate theirs. When we see men of a contrary character, we should turn inwards and examine ourselves. The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions. When we see men of a contrary character, we should turn inwards and examine ourselves. He who learns but does not think is lost. He who thinks but does not learn is in great danger. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know.